Michigan State has been making some serious moves this offseason. Their latest move, bringing in the #1 quarterback in the transfer portal.
From LA to Piscataway, all Big Ten all year long. This is Big Ten 10.
Sparty, you have my attention. Ever since the green and white got the doors blown off of them at Ford Field on Black Friday at the hands of the Penn State Nittany Lions, this is a program, and their stock is going up and up and up. Buy that Spartan stock right now. Absolutely. The first thing they went out and did, you got to find a leader. Who's going to be the new leader of your program? That's been the big thing, and everything else is kind of a chain reaction. You got to have the right guy as the head coach. They hired the right guy, maybe the best program builder in this head coaching hiring cycle, or maybe in all of college football, in Jonathan Smith from Oregon State. What he's been able to do at Oregon State, a program that doesn't exactly have a lot of resources out west, and get them to be a top 15, sometimes kind of knocking on the door of the top 10, to get Oregon State to that level is very impressive, and he's certainly done a great job building up that program. He brought a lot of his offensive coaching staff with him. That's going to be important in just a minute. The second big thing that was able to happen, Jonathan Smith was able to steal Joe Rossi from Minnesota. One of the better coordinators in the Big Ten and maybe all of college football. Top 10 defenses at Minnesota. I talked about that earlier in the week. In 2021 and 2022. You got to think that defense is going to build up. The third thing is what this video is about. And it's bringing in Aidan Chiles at quarterback. Aidan Chiles was number 7 overall recruit in the class of 2023, according to 24/7 Sports. He's young, he's athletic, and as I'll get into in just a little bit, he is a weapon in the backfield. Now, you might look at these stats and you might look at these numbers and say, well, there's not really that much there. It doesn't account for his rushing numbers. I mentioned him being a weapon. And you also have to remember, he got into the game a decent amount, even with DJ Uiagalelei as the quarterback at Oregon State this last season. The mark of a really good player is this coaching staff forcing themselves to get this guy on the field. And that's exactly what happened at Oregon State. I want to take this excerpt from the ESPN article to make sure I get everything accurate, because this is the example of taking his talent, even when you got a guy like DJU, taking a guy at the talent level of Aidan Chiles, recognizing that talent, and trying to get it on the field. Quote, Chiles flashed enough potential as a true freshman that Smith began inserting him for the third series of each game, beginning on September 30th against Utah and stretching through the season until the Washington game on November 18th. He played well, showcasing the dual threat ability that highlighted why the Oregon State staff prioritized getting him snaps during critical parts in the game. So, although he did play during cleanup time, he was also able to play meaningful Power 5 football, and I want to use that as kind of a jumping point into reason number 1 why I think he could come into the Big Ten in 2024 and have a fairly successful season. A lot of times when you get transfer portal quarterbacks and they're going to a new school, the part of the challenge is learning a new system. That is not happening here. I mentioned how Jonathan Smith is bringing Brian Lindgren and his offensive coaching staff with him. This is the system that Aidan Chiles learned last year at Oregon State. This is the system that he picked coming out of high school. This is the system that said, hey, we got to get your talent on the field. We've got to package some things in this third series of the game to tailor to your talents. And that's exactly what happened. There's not, now you're going to have new personnel to work with, new backs, new wide receivers, new tight ends, new O-line, all of that. And that's going to require some time to really get gelled with. But in terms of the playbook, in terms of the system, in terms of playing on the field in meaningful snaps within the offense, That's a big old check mark for Aidan Chiles so far as he gets ready for the 2024 season at Michigan State. When I look at Aidan Chiles, I'm not a big comp guy, but when I watched him, I turned on the tape, and within 15 seconds, I said, that's Lamar Jackson. The way he glides in the run game, the way he can go with a flick of the wrist and throw it deep down the field at 6'3", 200 pounds. He's got that longer, lankier body type that Lamar Jackson that he had when he played at Louisville. And then, of course, since he's been in the NFL with the Baltimore Ravens, I know that's high praise. We know all the success that Lamar Jackson had at Louisville and the success that he's been able to have with the Baltimore Ravens. But I see a lot of the same stuff because when I saw Lamar Jackson play quarterback, not only in college but in the NFL, I think of one word. I think of a weapon. And Aidan Chiles back there, I believe, is a weapon. Let's talk about 5 points of weaponry, right, so to speak, for Aidan Chiles. The first thing is the designed run. When he got in the third series of the games, and even the garbage time, but I'm mostly focused on these third series of the games, right? Competitive football early in the game when you're trying to set the tone. When he was able to get in, they did a lot of designed run, read plays, RPO type of situations, and he made the good decision more often than he didn't make the good decision. Okay, and then you kind of go into the scramble run as well, creating more time with his legs, creating more time in the pocket. And then I mentioned the gliding ability, the smooth running ability, the long strides. A lot of times it looks like he's running at 70%, but it looks like 100% when those guys are trying to chase him down on the football field. A throw on the run, the scramble run kind of sets up the throw on the run. And he's very good at that, creating more time for himself, rolling out and being accurate maybe when throwing and when he's shifting his body weight a little bit to his disadvantage. He's able to use his arm strength to be able to still hit that throws and be very accurate when throwing on the run. And when you throw it on the run, you need touch. And when you throw it down the field, you need that touch and that accuracy on the deep ball. And he's got very good touch on a lot of his throws. A lot of times, younger quarterback like himself, there's a urgency there to put a lot of zip on the ball. Nope, he does exactly what he needs to do. Every situation is different for him throwing the football. And you see that, the touch, getting it right into the breadbasket on the deeper throws, sometimes even on a 7-yard out route. Quarterbacks want to zing it in there. They want to get it there as quickly as possible. But Aidan Chiles is very mature. He's very aware of his skill set and what he needs to do to get the ball into the right spot at the right time to his weapons. I mentioned the arm strength, and he's got the arm strength to flick it down the field, to stretch the field. So you look at this weapon, his ability to throw the ball deep, stand in the pocket, throw the ball deep, his ability to throw on the run, RPO, read. He's a big-time threat in the run game. You put all that together, and he is a weapon big time at the quarterback position. Michigan State fans, you should be very happy. You should be very excited about the 2024 season. So the big question now for Michigan State is going to be, what do you surround him with? What do you surround him with? Because the first thing that I really want to point to is the backs that were on this team. You could go last year and maybe the year before. And they're more straight ahead runners when you look at the Nathan Carters and when you look at the Jalen Bergers. I believe if you want to, because I think if you're going to get the most out of Aidan Chiles, you really need to mold this offense. You need to start with Aidan Chiles as your foundation, and then you kind of need to branch out from there. I think Michigan State needs a lot more speed. They need a lot more agility. They need a lot more playmakers, I believe, on their offense. And starting with those running backs to make that read game a little bit more dangerous, not just, hey, Aidan Chiles is going to pull it, but there's also another playmaking option kind of going the other way. I mentioned Carter and Berger, more straight ahead physical type of runners. I think you need maybe more of what you had in 2021. I know Kenneth Walker is a example that's way up here, but I think you need more of that little side-to-side guys that can get to the outside and use their speed. Speed, speed, speed. When I look across the field, when I look in the backfield, when I look at the receiver position, I think as a whole, Sparty needs to get faster. Okay, they still need to be physical, but when I look at Aidan Chiles, and when I look at some RPO stuff, and if the run game isn't there, short passing game, can you get open in a couple of seconds on an out route, on a slant route? Can you get open that quickly? Can you create separation to make that play work? I think that's going to be a big-time factor for them. You got to be happy, Spartan fans, because when you talk about offseason championships, we've been talking about Nebraska a lot lately. Boy, in these handful of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, the Michigan State Spartans, they might be contending with maybe what's been happening over there in Lincoln, Nebraska. I want to hear your guys' thoughts. What do you think about Aidan Chiles coming into Michigan State? I'm not going to say he's going to be the best quarterback in the conference. There's a lot of really good quarterbacks, but he's certainly one to watch out for. His familiarity with Brian Lindgren, with the offense, and if they surround him with good talent, this could certainly be a team to watch in 2024.
Thanks for watching Big Ten Ted, where it's all Big Ten all year long. Make sure to like the video to spread the word of Big Ten Ted to the masses, and subscribe to the channel for updates on Big Ten content that drops every day.